Sacramento legend was the hero on the night. We are getting set for kickoff. This is the big one, folks. This is where we're going to settle our first finalist in this year's competition. 5 changes from their game over the weekend.
Great to see Logan Ndembe, the Belgian, back, though. His first start since he did his ACL November of the 2023 season. But I'm looking at the wing play tonight. Daniel Shalhoub, Johnny Russell, their ability to stretch this game and then invert to find Alan Polito up top, who struggled in the 9, but great to play off of in tight-knit spaces.
Here's a look at our refereeing crew. Our main man is going to be Rosendo Mendoza. He has not refereed in a U.S. Open Cup game since 2019. The last match in that tournament he officiated was a quarterfinal between Atlanta United and St. Louis FC, a game in which Atlanta came away victorious and, of course, went on to win the competition under Frank de Boer. Meanwhile, in charge of all the ambiguity tonight is Daniel Radford and Jonathan Johnson in the VAR facility back in Arlington, Texas. And now taking a look at the starting 11 for Sean McCauley, who's in his first season with Indy 11. Devin, 8 changes from their loss over the weekend.
Big loss on the back line. Adrian Deespe, their left center back, unavailable for selection. But this is the same back 3 that kept Atlanta United at bay. Really didn't give up any opportunities. You want to watch within the midfield, though, how Quinn, Cam Lindley, and Jack Blake hold formation there. They've struggled with a little bit of space, but if they can stay tight and allow those transitional moments to Augie Williams and Douglas Martinez, they'll be just fine.
After a more than 2.5-hour weather delay, the first semifinal in the 109th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is officially underway as we invite you to turn off the world. Expected 3 hours ago isn't as present.
With the understanding, though, that adversity created a brotherhood that he didn't necessarily think would have taken shape as quickly as it did because of the fact that news came out, and you had to face some skeletons, didn't you? The other side of that is some of these guys were involved with the San Diego Loyal organization that pulled in a USL championship last season. Also recognizing then that they didn't know what the future days were going to be like. So some experience on an individual level that works itself into the collective that has produced semifinal appearance for a lower division squad twice in the last 3 seasons. Of course, Sacramento Republic falling just short to Orlando City in 22.
Here's Tommy from a long way out, and he rocks the woodwork. That ball sat up perfectly for the German.
Oh, the understanding that with all the rotation you're going to get. I mentioned this, Alan Polito in that pocket just in front of the back line. Very comfortable. That allows this man, Eric Tommy.
Voltaire on the turn. Now Daniel Shalhoub. Polito. It's a good initial challenge from Callum Chapman-Page, and these are the moments in terms of suffering, and that was the operative word that Sean McCauley used even before the Atlanta game, and knowing that there are going to be large stretches like this, but even more so against the likes of Sporting Kansas City. As Eric Tommy finding Davis. Little feint to cut inside. And now Russell. Now he fancies it from a distance that he loves. Johnny Russell, the heartbeat of this club, draws first blood in this semifinal, and it's 1-0. Sporting getting everything that they want right now. It's flat lines for Indy 11, but more importantly, they're drawing them out, and recognize the vision here of Jake Davis from the outside. The one-on-one, that cutback right there. You've stretched your wing back deeper, and then all of a sudden you have to ask one of your midfielders step up to the inside, and they don't recognize that it's a 2v1. Aiden Quinn doesn't get help on the weak side. Johnny Russell recognized the separation and just it will be Eric Tommy. It's a great effort, and it's off the post.
And Hunter Salt, he's got to be oh so careful because of the 2 marksmen he's got over it, but the woodwork, full force. That big 6'7" frame fully.
Second time he struck the woodwork tonight. And all he needs is the right stick. That's guarded by Hunter Salt, and they'll have the trifecta.
Necessarily go after some of these movements coming away, and that's exactly what's happening. If you watch defensively, even when they have the mark, Sporting step on it, play a 5-yard ball, and it's Douglas Martinez, it's Jack Blake stepping out. It's allowing Sporting Kansas City to get Indy into these uncomfortable spots on the field that opens up this real estate, and they're just happy to step right into it, take their passages of play, and continue the other direction.
Here's the substitute Musa, who came on about 7 or 8 minutes ago for the injured Callum Chapman-Page. And then a beautiful switch from Aiden Quinn on that wand of a left peg. Now Neidlinger early in, slip from Rosero, and then Augie Williams had a great chance on the first chance of the night for Indy 11.
Condense the middle a little bit. We talked to Sean McCauley about it, bringing Jack Blake more to the interior in front of Aiden Quinn and Cam Lindley, almost operating as a single 10 instead of 2, which they try and do with the single striker. If you bring him in, you're going to expose yourself more on the wings, but you've got two very good wingbacks in Aiden Stanley and Neidlinger that are capable in transitional play, and it clogs the middle up to remove some of the movements from Sporting right here.
And Shallowy just making sure that Hunter Solt is awake back there. Cam Lindley taking over. Calm step though from Andreu Fontas, and now sends Daniel Shallowy on his way. Gets on the better side of Ofemu. Waiting for Alan Polito, and Hunter Solt needed to be sharp.
When you do play out, the group's exhausted, stagnant in their actions.
Solt got a touch to it. Russell brings it down. Got a clip from behind. Now Remy Voltaire gets it right back. Rosero, 2-0. Lovely ball for the Frenchman, and it's Danny Rosero, the hero in the quarterfinal, registering another goal here in the semi, and Sporting are cruising.
All of a sudden, Danny Rosero, in the last 43 minutes, wants to throw his name in the hat for the Golden Boot. He's been incredible coming off the back line. Lack of organization. Got to be smarter here if you're Augie Williams. There's no communication whatsoever, but how clever of a ball this is to the back.
A lot of injury and some personnel issues over the course of this season. Danny Rosero has remained a constant as Jack Blake decides to take this from distance, and easily gobbled up by Tim Melia.
Prior to Sporting Kansas City's second goal.
And that's going to do it for the first half. What a performance from Sporting in the first 45 minutes. As Rosendo Mendoza, our head referee for tonight, gets things started in this second half. Sporting Kansas City 45 minutes away from getting to their first final. Harvey Shelton back to the left-hand side for Logan Ndembe. Linking up with Eric Tommy. Looking for an avenue to pull the trigger. Still Tommy around the bend as it took a deflection on the way in and made it quite easy for Hunter Solt at the end of the sequence. Look at the lineups for both of these sides. Peter Vermees, again, going with the 4-2-3-1 that we've seen a number of times throughout this campaign. No changes from the first half. Douglas Martinez was shielding it out of play, only to figure out after the fact that the assistant referee on this near side, Brian Dunn, was pointing in favor of Sporting. Meanwhile, for Sean McCauley and Indy 11, no changes from the first half either, other than the substitution that McCauley was forced to make. James Musa coming on and replacing Callum Chapman-Page along the back line. Aiden Quinn with the only disciplinary action in the first half, picking up a yellow card.
They have changed down underneath, though, the change that we were calling for. Gives them a different look. Jack Blake jumping just in front of Cam Lindley and Aiden Quinn, albeit just shielding a tad to that left-hand side. Now it's going to make Douglas Martinez and Augie Williams up top work a little bit more, but if they can work in unison, quickly force the narrative to the outside. There's going to be space out there, but quick rotation, it allows you to create the ability to remove that interior ball that was so efficient in the first half for Sporting Kansas City, finding Jake Davis, Remy Voltaire. A lot of overload on that left-hand flank, but beautiful builds throughout.
James Musa picking out Aiden Stanley beautifully. Now infield for Jack Blake, who decides to unload from distance, and Tim Melia was interested in that enough to be able to get a touch to it. It looked like it might have trickled wide in the end, but Indy 11 are able to generate a corner out of it.
I don't really mind it from Jack Blake on the backside of things. Yes, it's from distance. He doesn't get all of it, but he doesn't really have a lot of options. If he wants to slip Augie Williams through here, he's got to thread the needle. Much higher percentage to try and have a strike from distance. And if you were going to pick one or two on this team to have a go, Jack Blake would be right near the top of the list.
And now the Brickyard Battalion trying to get involved and spur their side onto a goal that would certainly change the complexion of this semifinal. Back for Lindley. And denied by Eric Tommy. And now it's a sprint to the ball between Tommy and Neidlinger. But Hunter Solt ends up beating both of them out. It's got to be a little debilitating that you earn your first corner of the night, Devin. You don't even get delivery off.
And I would go back to the fact that the emotional side of the game creates such a fragile mind for these players. When you chase, it's one thing. Physically, you get tired, and you actually think that, okay, let me start to play long, take some chances, when in fact, if you just put the ball on the deck, let it do the work, it makes it much easier, but you have to fight that tendency that you want to play it early. Certainly giving up the 2 goals didn't help.
Alan Polito always falling away from goal, and difficult to get that on frame. Good ball from Neidlinger. Martinez back for Jack Blake, just trying to tuck it inside of that far post. Indy are claiming there was a deflection. Referee thinks it's a goal kick. Delivery from Aiden Quinn, always dangerous, but this one angled a little bit too far out wide. Stanley back in. This is much better, and then Douglas Martinez just barely sends it wide. And now those substitutions are going to take place. And it will be the Belgian Ndembe who's going to make way for Leibold, and then Fontas will come off and be replaced by Robert Volleder. Martinez again. Sends it across. What a touch that is from Tim Melia, and then it's sent all the way across again, and Indy 11 somehow don't get their first of the night. Again, one goal will completely change the tone of this night. Quinn sends it in, won by Indy 11, cleared away by Rosero. Sends up nicely for Jack Blake, and then Tim Melia again called into action. When they got to a final against Orlando City. Agata wouldn't got in the way.
Let's see how much freedom Sean McCauley gives Malik Foster. You're going to have to start to gamble even more down the stretch here. In the profile, he was very clear that it is quite different than what they currently have. A guy who out on the wing, he's got speed for sure, but very comfortable in that half channel. Whether forward facing or back to goal, that should allow him more link-up play with the front line.
Shallowy, how good is that? Good game. It's through O'Brien. Can't finish it off.
Could do no wrong. One-on-ones, distribution, everything.
So drilled towards the back post. In a dangerous spot. Again, Rosero. Again, Jack Blake on the first time. Follow-up off the side of the post.
Sometimes there's no magic within the game, and it feels like, as limited as the opportunities have been for Indy 11, when they have poked their head through Tim Melia. Dear Lord, he can't believe it on the second one. Watch him hit the deck after Augie Williams stings the side. Again, just perfect positioning towards the dying embers of this match.
In swinger from Russell. The skipper again. The song. Clever little ball. Rosero up for the header. He throws it off the backside of Shallowy. And Sporting will go again. William Agata sends it into the 8th row of the Cauldron. Be able to chase a 5th U.S. Open Cup trophy, which no other Major League Soccer team has achieved. Them, Seattle, and Chicago all sit on 4. Afrifa. Jake Davis took a deflection and just over the crossbar.
Jake Davis very clear that he had an aha moment coming back from Olympic camp, his first national team call-up. Said, I know I belong at that level, and I know that I belong within this midfield, and there are great things for me in my future, and he has been playing like it lights out for Sporting Kansas City club, now country. An added dimension to what has been a star-studded cast of rotational pieces for Sporting Kansas City in the midfield the past couple of seasons.
Challenge from behind, inside the area, and it's a penalty.
That's really tight on the outside, but what work rate by William Agata. He's got a point, Guenzati. Where does the contact actually occur?
I think he catches that trailing. Alan Pulido. Saved by Sol.
How well is this taken by Hunter Solt? That's just athleticism right there. He's a little slow off his line, slow to react. It's not, doesn't get a ton of pace behind it. Doesn't move it away from the goalkeeper, and yet still able to get a hand on it, but that will be it.
Peter Vermees and Sporting Kansas City convincing in their efforts tonight.